And we are live. And Iskra, don't worry, you should hydrate. I'm happy that you're taking the time to get some water because I know we'll talk a lot. And hopefully you will talk much more than I will. But okay, guys, before we really get started, so I'm Kevin Morrow, aka Mr. Mingle, if you don't know me yet. And I focus on helping my fellow misfits really find their power, reframe their apparent weaknesses into the source of their bestest superpowers. But today is not about me. Today, don't care about me. It's all about Iskra, my dear guest. And before I start presenting to you, introducing you to our audience, Iskra, would you like to say a few words?
The only thing I can say at the moment, at the starting moment of our conversation, is I'm so excited to be co-creating with you this space, and I'm also so excited to be co-creating with everyone who has chosen to invest their time. We really appreciate it. I know that time is one of the most precious resources, so we both value your time, you value your energy, and you're so open to any questions, any comments, any feedback. I'm really buzzing with excitement about co-creation. Co-creation is one of the most important things for me in my work always.
Thank you so much, Iskra. And yeah, co-creation, it's one of the many connection points we have. You are a community builder, I am as well. And we love co-creating, we love collaborating. But actually, yeah, we have so much more in common. So we just discussed about that before we started this conversation, that we had so many reasons to meet before, and it didn't happen, probably for very good reasons, but we are part of the same training. So I was trained as a certified life coach. Iskra has been trained as a certified business coach, both from Mind Valley. And we evolved in the same community called EverCoach, and we evolved in similar groups, communities, coaching communities, yet we never met before. We both joined the Amplify Your Business movement from Sarah Gray, the amazing Sarah Gray. And we started to connect in that container. And Iskra, thank you again so much for offering me, a sneak peek of your framework. I really appreciated that you spend quite good time, like 90 minutes, explaining to me how you led your discovery call. So it was very, very insightful to me. And then we met in Dublin in person, and then it all clicked because actually, so we have many common points, as I mentioned, and we both are fascinated with structure, systems, processes, a very engineered, very scientific way to look at things. And that I didn't realize before is you're also extremely spiritual, that you've been a Qigong practitioner for a while now, for much longer than I. And to me, Qigong has been like, oh my gosh, it has been an absolute game changer to me. So we really have been able to connect on both sides, on the business, acumen and structure and systemic approach and holistic approach of things, and also on the spiritual, on the Taoism, Qigong, energy work, etc., which doesn't feel so common, right? People having both sides. I feel it's, actually in the containers we evolve in, we meet a few people like that, but it's not so common, actually. So it was very fascinating. So Iskra, in a nutshell, is an inspiring business leader, a spiritual guide, a confidence queen. And Iskra, you are talking in your LinkedIn about section about the 3 C's: clarity, confidence, change, which are fascinating. Hopefully we will have time to go deeper if you want to. But before that, I would love to welcome our dear audience members. So for now, guys, I can only see the names of the people that comment. So if you'd like to be acknowledged, feel free to comment. You don't have to, but just an invitation. So I'm so happy that Jonathan is joining. Jonathan is a spiritual teacher as well, a Reiki master, and so it's definitely a Misfit fellow of us. And Floris, I'm so glad that you joined, Floris. He's from the Our Tribe, from Suda's group. So much love for Floris as well. So happy that you've been able to join, both of you. And guys, if you're listening and we haven't mentioned your name yet, just leave a quick comment and we will happily acknowledge you and send a lot of good vibes and love your way. No pressure, you don't have to.
Yes, let me say hello, Rob. We've known each other for quite some time already. So I'm so excited and thank you so much for being here. And hi, Jonathan. Lovely to online meet you. Yeah, we appreciate you being here.
And yeah, Iskra and Jonathan, you probably want to connect. But yeah, all in due time. So Jonathan, Floris, or anyone that would like to, I invite you to ask any questions to Iskra. But before you find your own questions, let me start the ball. And you know what? Let's start directly with what I mentioned. You know, that quite unusual combination of sharp business acumen with highly spiritual exploration. What makes you able to combine both? Because it doesn't make much sense. For most people, it's like, wait, what? No, it could be like combining sardines and chocolate. It's not supposed to match. So how are you able to do that?
Thank you so much for this question. It's an interesting question, and I don't remember anybody asking me this question because I've been a guest to and a co-creator to many other live shows. So I think it's a very long story because from the present moment, looking back, what I can see is maybe it started in my childhood. I always have been energy sensitive. I was playing with the projection of my fingers in a dark room to heal my cold and to pull it out of my body without having any idea about energy work, because back then when I was growing up in a socialist country, it wasn't a topic that was welcome. There was no information about it. So I was just following my intuition or my soul's push or purpose, whatever word we choose to say. And at the same time, I was very curious, very analytical. I'm born in a family of teachers. I'm actually a fourth generation teacher, even though I tried to escape it. I didn't want to be a teacher. After being brought, like there's so many pluses and minuses, and not just plus minus, there are so many nuances between that. But if we go much later in my development as a conscious human being, through my formal education, I have Master of Science in Computers. I've been working in strategic advertising for quite some time. I even developed courses, university courses. I was invited to teach at university, Master of Arts and Bachelor of Arts students. And at the same time, in parallel, it was kind of, let me see which words to use. It was kind of growing or moving or expanding in duality. Or maybe feminine, masculine, if we use this metaphor, this approach, the analytical and the creative side, the soft and the hard. And I drew it here for some of my, this symbol. You took part in the co-creation circle last week. You remember the figure that I drew, that I had channeled when I was about 12 years old. There are different aspects of ourselves that we could bring together in harmony, but it requires lots of inner work and lots of self-awareness. So let me know whether I answered your question or there are more nuances, more things that you would like to know.
Thank you so much. So very first, I would like to warmly welcome Jane. Jane is a is a fierce and warm supporter of my podcast. So I deeply, really appreciate Jane being here. Thank you so much for taking the time. And yeah, no, absolutely. And actually, you know what? It makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense that you have been appealed to Taoism, which is a way, exactly as you mentioned, masculine and feminine, which goes way beyond genders, right? And I feel, those principles and this way to look at the world and the universe, I feel it helps people like us that have so many facets and so many, apparently opposite sides inside of them, to be, okay, how am I supposed to deal with that? And with all of that at once. So yeah, it makes a lot of sense, actually. And we have a question from Jonathan, which is directly linked to what you shared, but maybe, to give an extra edge to it.
Yes, yeah, I love this question. Thank you, Jonathan. So going back to my childhood, I think it will make sense just to share a couple of more details. I learned to read when I was very little, I think when I was 3 or 4 years old. And by the age of 5, 6, I have already read all children's books at home in Bulgarian. And I found some very beautiful books in Russian. So I learned Russian when I was 6 years old or something like that. And by 7, I already was so fascinated about languages, about cultures, and I decided to read more about civilizations. So I don't know, maybe I was around 7, 8, 9 when I read the sacred books of the major cultures in the world. So I was exploring the Mahabharata, Ramayana, the Indian epos. I was very curious about the Quran. I was looking at the Bible. I was looking at the Sumerian epos. And then I decided that I have to learn the 3 main languages so that I can go and explore all other languages, so I can bring together analytically and see what are the similarities in people's approach to these major main questions. Where are we coming from? Where are we going to? So there was no particular spiritual element to that, but I think this curiosity to go beyond the popular information, the available easily information, and trying to create my own model of the world is the thing that pushed me to open up to going really deep. And the actual click into spirituality happened after a life-changing point in my life. I was very ill when I was, let me think, maybe 23, 24 years old. And the traditional medicine didn't work. I was in hospital for 3 months. And the only thing that was left to me was to work to regulate my nervous system, to calm down myself, to visualize my lungs getting clearer and healthier. And there was a moment when I didn't know what was happening to me. I couldn't realize whether I was laying on my back or I was laying prone. And I saw these little people walking and working on my lungs, fixing them. And very soon after that, I took the path to recovery. The doctors were really surprised. So after I got out of the hospital, I got curious what actually happened. So then I understood that maybe it was meditation, maybe it was a trance. And this led me to discover Qigong. So I started practicing Qigong in 1995 with a Chinese master, which led me to start practicing martial arts, Tai Chi Chuan, and several modalities of Tai Chi. And this is how the world didn't look the same anymore. So did this bring clarity to you, Jonathan?
Wow, so we'll wait for Jonathan answer, but yeah, it's absolutely fascinating, and I love how you've been trying, to figure out how the world worked on your own way, and finding, already looking for patterns, right, and a systemic approach, and that's super interesting. I don't know if you ever heard about Claude Lévi-Strauss. Is a very famous sociologist,
I have read his books.
and so I've been fascinated more with like mythologies, from all around the world. So myth and stories, original stories and legends are part of the things that fascinated me for the longest time. And Claude Lévi-Strauss had exactly that approach, trying to figure out, the core myth on Earth, based on analyzing so many different mythologies and legends. So it's very interesting how once again our paths intertwine. So.
Yes, this is one more common point. I've read so many books of his, and now that you're saying, I really have to give credit to his work for my upbringing. I was anthropologist by heart and mythology researcher, and one of my favorite books as a child was the autobiography by Carl Gustav Jung. So exploring his approach to dreams and to different symbols and to what is the knowledge, the message that is coming to us. And I think maybe my first encounter with spirituality was through his work, through his books, Jung's books.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you've been inspired by that man. To me, is a really, to be honest, I don't have much love for many French writers, or yeah, I'm like, it's not because they're French I will have a special liking for them. They better like deserve it. They better, do their work, so they deserve the praise. But Claude Lévi-Strauss to me holds a very special place. And guys, if you never heard about that man, just I'd like to share one thing from him. And it's I believe it was in a UN meeting, or a very big meeting, a gathering of many different governments and big people worldwide, and it just absolutely disconstructed the concept of race. It proved that, hey, you know what, guys, races don't exist. Like, stop using that silly word. It's not a thing. We're all human beings. We're all equal. Just drop that. And to me, I have so much appreciation and respect for this man. Just for that one thing, he earned my respect forever and ever. And like, his work is so much more than that, right? It's very, very wide and deep, but only like that. Just races are not a thing. We are all human beings. We have all sorts of flavors and differences, but we all thrive in diversity, and there are no such thing as races. It just doesn't exist. Just drop that. It's not a thing.
Yes.
So yeah, very powerful.
Yeah, and I believe that I have it also in my life. Like my first marriage or intimate partnership was with a man from Africa, the father of my first son. So I'm so grateful for all the influences in my upbringing, to have the open mind and to appreciate the different cultures, the richness, especially from distant cultures when they're brought together, what can be born or co-created. And I never looked at anyone through the lens of seeing the physical and the material. Like, there is a way, and I think it's possible to be cultivated. I don't know whether for everyone, that you can connect instantly on a very deep level, on a soul level, emotional energy level, with the people that you resonate with. And I don't know whether it's appropriate or whether it's relevant to anyone to talk about soul connections, past lives, parallel lives. There are so many different concepts, and I personally don't have a very clear and set structure or concept about it. It's still fluid, and I'm still bringing pieces together. but I know that, like you, like meeting with you, I know that we had this deep connection, and that it doesn't need any explanations. It doesn't need exploration, whether it was in one past life or two past lives, or maybe from a future life, or maybe from a different dimension. The most important thing is that there is a resonance, and there is this reason for us to be together and to have this conversation today, as well as there is a reason for all these people who are here and are contributing to this conversation.
I really like that approach. To me the same. Like I love understanding where it's coming from and why it works, but it's not necessary. Not always. Sometimes it really adds a very important layer, but in many cases it's working. So it doesn't matter really if we understand why it's working. It's working and it's beautiful. We don't necessarily have to question that. We might want to explore that just for kicks, for the sake of exploration. That's very interesting. So I have no idea who shared that. So it was a very interesting comment. So unfortunately, we only see you as a LinkedIn user. Thank you so much for this very interesting share. I don't know if you want to go deeper into that, Iskra, but obviously we have some fellows in the room. We definitely enjoy, connection and appreciation for mythologies and spirituality and awakening, all those sort of things. So feel free to say your name, to write your name. I would love to acknowledge you properly. And I'm so glad we have Sierra that just joined. Sierra is deeply spiritual as well. You probably want to connect with Sierra as well. Sierra is part of my beloved hounds of business. So hopefully when you join, you will have a direct line to connect with her.
I'm so much looking forward.
Waiting for other questions after Jonathan's questions. Excellent question. Thank you again, Jonathan, for your beautiful question. I'd like to explore a different line. And actually, you started to say a few words about that. That you strongly embrace diversity. Right.
Yes.
And it didn't please too much your family at that time. And so by embracing diversity, you also embraced not conforming to society. And you embrace your nonlinearity somewhat. So I would love to explore that with you if you want. So how were you able to embrace your nonlinearity? Because as you mentioned, for people that don't really realize where Bulgaria is in the world, but you've been raised in a country that was under the thumb of communist USSR back in the days. Not conforming, being non-linear, wasn't necessarily an easy thing to do. So I'm really curious to know how were you able to make that happen in a country that didn't really leave much room to that, at least from my perspective. Maybe I'm wrong, but from my perspective, probably it was harder for you than for many other people.
Yes. So I was really raised in an open-minded family, encouraging cultural exploration. It's encouraging learning. My dad had a huge library, maybe of 10,000 books, and the huge encyclopedia. And whatever question or inquiry I had, we would be able to go and check it and have a conversation and dispute. Also, he had students. He was the headmaster of a technical college, and he had students from abroad. I think some of them who have come home were from Vietnam, maybe from other countries. And to me, it felt so normal and natural to be connecting with people regardless of beliefs, regardless of religion. As I said, I was so curious about religions, creating parallels, exploring, looking at similarities, looking at differences. So when I followed my heart, when I went to study computer science in our capital city, and when I found the love of my life, who was a journalist and musician from Africa, it was the most natural thing to bring, to step into this relationship open-heartedly and knowing that this is the right thing to do because this is how I was educated. And then it was to my shock, it was something that wasn't really, how to say, it created more worries than joy. And all this was caused by the deep love and care of my parents. And I had no idea what it actually means to have cross-racial relationship. Because traditionally we were talking in our culture that we are so open, we're so international, we have such hospitality, but the truth was that this wasn't like that. This was like looking at things from a distance or welcoming international delegations. But when it comes to really embracing different people, the reality was totally different. So it wasn't easy. And I now acknowledge that my way to handle that was a natural connection and trust with myself. So now from the perspective of a coach and mentor who is working to help clients start showing up by trusting themselves, being their authentic self, now I can see that this ability has been showing up in my behavior, in my self-expression from early age. I would dare question the opinions of teachers at school. I wouldn't agree with what I was told. I wouldn't actually argue. Like now I'm using empathic communication or nonviolent communication when I have to disagree with someone. But by my nature, I'm a pacifist. So I would try resolve conflicts in the natural ways or prove that we all have the right to be different and to coexist and to co-create and to build something together by everyone being allowed to contribute. So it wasn't an easy period of my life. It was a fascinating period. There were so many new things that I learned connecting with the international community of students at the Sofia University. But the challenges of practicality and going against the traditions of the normal life, it was something that was at moments really disheartening. And maybe the biggest challenge that I had was when my partner got really sick and he was admitted at the hospital, and then the next day he was kicked out, and I was told to let him die and go find myself a Bulgarian man. And this really put me on fire. And I think this brought up energy I didn't know I had. It brought up power I didn't know I had. And I managed to do things that now, if I put them in sequence, they don't really make sense. I don't think it's normal to be able to do all the stuff that I did, sourcing out funds, sourcing out medication, sourcing out connections to fix papers, etc. So all this kind of work that normally would take a month was kind of condensed in 3 days. So yeah, this challenging situation kind of brought up stuff and features of my character that I didn't suspect. I didn't know that I was such a rebel, and I didn't know that I was so strong.
I love that. It's so inspiring. Actually, I feel it reflects back to, you getting sick, and thanks to getting sick, discovering qigong, then tai chi, martial arts, etc. I know it's super super corny, and some people hate that. I feel very cringy. That tendency I have to really see see the positive hidden in the negative, and not just the silver lining. Like, dude, it's meant to be that way. Like, the struggle is a gift, and inside of the struggle there is a powerful gift. So I feel it's extremely empowering what you just shared. That all those struggles, yeah, at least in my book, they were here for a reason. You might not see it that way. I have the feeling you at least kind of see it that way, but they were here to allow you to unveil your incredible strength. And without that struggle, you wouldn't have a reason to go that deep and that strong. It's fascinating.
It is absolutely true, because while I was going through these challenges, so they're kind of related. So my partner was really ill and we managed to save his life. And then a year later, I developed exactly the same symptoms. And I know that it was a psychosomatic situation, but it doesn't, explaining that it was psychosomatic doesn't make it less intense and less painful. And there was a moment when the situation in the hospital was so dire. They had to put me on antidepressants for a week. So in my therapy and consultants and coaching work, looking at people who have challenges, I can see them from being on their side. I was depressed, I was struggling, I couldn't see the light. And knowing that it's possible in an instant or with some small or big intervention to totally change your look at life and be positive, feel supported, feel seen, feel heard, it gives me the confidence that this is possible also for other people. So I'm deeply grateful for these experiences. And I just want to make this a remark that when we go through challenges, there is no way, or not that there is no way, it is not right to push ourselves to be positive. The things that we have to do is to look for support, to make ourselves feel safe. And then maybe the next step would be to embrace, to acknowledge what is going on. And there is the next step when we can start looking out for the solutions. But the very first thing is to feel safe, to be nurtured, to be held, so that we are able to take our breath and move a little step higher, the next step further. And then when we start to gather our power, then we will be able to look for solutions.
That one is so important, and thank you so much for sharing that. I feel it. Yeah, it's absolutely crucial. I'm personally, I really despise toxic positivity, and you see, it's kind of trendy to speak about toxic positivity, but yeah, there is such a thing, and it is very toxic to really kind of pressure people to be positive, to be happy at all costs, and like. So I know, like, my podcast is called Happy Misfits, right? But I'm not bullying anyone to go. You have to be happy no matter what. Absolutely not my point. And the idea is really to have it happen organically, and build your way through happiness, and not force yourself into happiness. And there
Yes.
is, to me, an extremely important concept, and I'm sure you know that one. And we will go a little bit fluffy and spiritual here. Though there are two extremely important and very well known poles in polarities in spirituality, which are lack and abundance. And I'm sure most of you have heard about that. many people ignore that there is an intermediary level, and it's sufficiency. Most people can't go from lack to abundance in one go. Most people just can't handle it. It's too much. The same way, when a diver, when they are very deep into the sea, they can't go and reach the level of the sea in one snap. If they do that, their eardrums will just burst open, they will bleed to death and die. So they need intermediary steps. So they go and they don't just destroy themselves because of the pressure. And I feel toxic positivity kind of bully us to don't respect that and to go directly. No, you can go directly to sea level or even beyond. Oh, come on, guys! I'm 5,000 feet underwater right now. How can you ask me to go all the way in one go? It's not feasible. So thank you so much for that. I feel it's extremely important that we have enough self-care to okay, you know what, right now I'm not able to reach happiness and full joy and abundance right away. I'm not there yet, and that's okay, but I can take one tiny step in that direction, and maybe tomorrow I will just have a nap and respect myself and go easy, and the day after I will take another step, and slowly and surely I will get there. So I don't know.
There were so many thoughts that came up to me while I was listening to you. And the last one that I want to bring up now is the Taoist, the Chinese approach to things, that any extreme feelings are bringing us out of balance. So extreme happiness, extreme negativity, or despair are things that are harmful to our body, because we cannot balance, we cannot maintain the harmony. And I wouldn't even use toxic positivity. I could call it harmful positivity, because it contains an element of judgment. Why are you not positive? You are meant to be happy. Look how others are doing it. While the things that a person who is facing certain challenges, the first things that they need is peace, is the sense of getting closer to maintaining harmony, getting closer to maintaining balance, getting closer to being able to be in control of their body, even not the mind. The mind is the hardest thing to control, and evoking emotions and feelings, happy positivity, it's not an easy thing. It comes when we create the conditions for these emotions to come. And because we are complex being, it's also possible the opposite thing. When we're happy and in true higher vibration, this could bring healing to the body. And we have to be mindful of this interchange and interconnectedness of all our elements as very complex beings, spiritual beings, energy beings, and to be paying attention to the different elements. And at the same time, we have to be, let me say, using the word have. It's imposing stuff. Of course, there are different approaches. There are different looks at life. There are different traditions. They all work. They're all valid. It's important for us to find what resonates with us and which approach we tend to follow. I think it all boils down to be authentic and to be trusting ourselves. What is right for me, what serves me, what doesn't serve me, which environment supports me, which people support me and I feel good and easy and light in their presence, which are the people whose simple presence or actions are harmful to me, and be able to take a stand for ourselves, to preserve our energy, to fulfill our needs, and to feel confident, trusting ourselves about our next small step, as I mentioned.
Yeah, I love that. I really deeply love that. I once again I see, that very fascinating dance, between systems and spirituality and inner work. So that's well. I don't know how you feel about that, guys. I feel in the audience, we had several very nice comments about what you just shared. So thank you so much for this beautiful share, Iskra. I would like to just warmly welcome Annie. Thank you so much for joining. I'm so happy that you took the time to join, Annie. Adeyinka, thank you so much as well for joining. And Megan, welcome. Yeah, we are only energy indeed. That's absolutely beautiful. I love that. And yeah, there is that. That's very interesting how science evolved, and especially thanks to quantum physics, that we see more and more connection points between science and spirituality, and they agree on so many things now. When actually, like, maybe 50 years ago, but probably even less than that, they were heavily or apparently heavily disagreeing on major points like that. So it's very interesting. So Jonathan, I know you had a question for Iskra, and actually, you know what? Let's go that way, because I would love for you, Iskra, to have enough time to explain what's cooking. I know something is getting to a close. You're preparing something big, and I would like you to share that with the audience. I feel at least some of our dear audience might be very interested in your upcoming masterclass. But before we get there, and actually it's absolutely connected to that, you will understand how. This was Jonathan question, and actually it's linked to a question I had in mind, about how you've been able to overcome your stage fright. And that one is very dear to me, because I had a similar story, probably with a very different journey. But I'm super interested to know how you've been able to overcome your personal stage fright. And actually, that question from Jonathan to me seems to be the perfect milestone to get there, and then explain about your masterclass. So,
yes,
all yours.
Okay. First, let me answer Jonathan's question. I don't know how to answer this question, because I think all the labels that we're using there to help us communicate, touching some common ground with the person that we are communicating, connecting with. So for some people, my introvertness could be actually an extrovert expression, because even as an introvert, it would be too much for someone who is painfully closed inside them. I think there are certain levels, and I'm trying to not get into my scientist mind. I have decided consciously several years ago to leave it there, like the brand strategist. And I'm also a film producer, and there is so much calculation and planning and strategizing in this work that has formed me as a person. I think my work forced me to become extrovert. And I don't know whether this is a second nature, or it is actually my real nature. But there are moments when I'm an extrovert, there are a moment when I'm an introvert, and I love this dance of my energy expanding and shrinking, and it's never the same. I recently wrote a lot about following the cycles of nature. Today is the spring equinox, and we're opening up. Nature is opening up. We're expanding. And there are moments when we will be shrinking, and it's not going to happen when the time of winter comes. So I'm all of them. I'm both introvert, I'm both extrovert, and it depends on the person who is interacting with me to judge for themselves. They can see me totally differently.
Okay, so that it's a very interesting answer, and I am kind of holding myself back to geek out on that, because it's a topic that fascinates me. And I would love to go deeper, but we don't have time if we really want to explore everything at once, right? So I will just shut up on that topic, but very, very interesting take. So I can't wait to explore that deeper with you on a further event or occasion. But hopefully, Jonathan, you enjoyed, or you were at least inspired by that answer. So no, I would love to know. So, and as you mentioned, you are at least partly introvert, or you have some introversion in you. And I understand you have been shy as well, at least at some point in your life. And for the people that don't know, introversion and shyness are two very different things. You actually can be widely extrovert and very shy. Like there are some people, actually very famous people, that are both, and it's absolutely possible. And actually, it's kind of very painful to be that to be extrovert when you need other people's energy, and being shy, that can be challenging. But it's not your case, or not entirely, at least. So I would love to know, how you've been able to free yourself from stage fright and that specific type of shyness.
Yes. So the big story that I always say whenever I have the chance to talk about it is when I was 15, I think. And this age of a teenager is a very painful period, at least for some people. And I had to perform. There was this end of school, and we were all gathered, all children or teachers and parents gathered in the big hall at the school, and me and three other girls, we had to sing a song. I still remember the song. It was in Russian, about the smile. At улыбки хмурый день светлей, which means that from the smile the gloomy day becomes brighter. I had to sing the second verse. So the first girl, she sang her thing. We were lined up with our beautiful head decorations, and the time comes for me to open my mouth. I couldn't. So I stood for maybe 30 seconds. It felt like 5 minutes with closed mouth, the music playing on the background, the whole audience looking at us. And I just simply felt that the safest thing to happen is the earth to open up and take me. It didn't happen. My mom was there. She was looking with desperation in her eyes. She wasn't able to help me at all. My time finished. The third girl sang, the fourth girl sang, then we bowed, we left. And it left such a pain in my body, so much stress. I thought that I would never be able to stand up in front of people and talk, unless it was in the class, and I still would go there and connect only with the teacher and speak to the teacher when I had to present anything at school. How I started working on it. Somehow my inner wisdom took over, and I understood that I have a problem that I cannot continue living with. And when I got into university, I remember pushing myself to go and talk with the popular kids, pushing myself to go to the boys or girls looking attractive, feeling deeply intimidated, feeling painfully shy, but I had to go there and make myself ask a question or involve in a conversation. And I was surprised to see how easily they found it. They were fascinated by my questions. They liked my company, while all the time I was thinking that there is something wrong with me. I didn't like myself. I didn't like my appearance. I almost don't have any photos from my school years because I always try to hide. And sometimes people would catch me up on photo. And this is how I started stepping up and opening up. And I think the key was that I stepped out of the environment that was charged with painful memories, with emotion that was keeping me down and keeping me back. So this is something that I'm also teaching my clients or speaking with my audience, that about the importance of the physical environment. One of the reasons to be fascinated with Feng Shui, I also studied Feng Shui with one design college, is to create environment around us that is supportive to our energies, that is reflecting our energies and is speaking about who we are.
Yeah, love that. Yeah, sorry, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I said that the journey is ongoing. I have moments when I don't want to be seen, when I don't feel good, when I don't feel okay about my energy, or I don't feel that whatever I have to say is of importance, or I do a live, I don't like myself and I'm about to delete it. And at this very moment, someone sends me a message telling me my life is changed. Thank you so much. This is exactly what I wanted to hear. So this reminds me that we have to look at any self-expression from different perspectives.
Love that. And yeah, self-expression, that's the thing. It doesn't have to be through voice. And there are so many ways to self-express. So I love that. Art is it's an amazing art, like in its all beautiful diversity and broadness. And it is wonderful ways to express ourselves. It doesn't overcoming shyness, it comes in many flavors and shades, once again. And I love that you mentioned that it came through practice. You push yourself, you challenge yourself, and not everybody is able to do that. Once again, step by step. Some people might need in between milestones until they get there. But for the people that are able to do that, and even better for the people that have support to help them, it's extremely powerful. And thank you for that. So we are getting close to the end of this podcast, unfortunately, less than 10 minutes. So I would like just to say thank you again, Fabienne, for joining. Yes, absolutely. The recording will be available. Don't worry. I got you. I got everyone. So Team Replay, we love you as well. Yes, the energy of the live is always better. But if for any reason you can join, no worries, we got you. The recording will be available both on LinkedIn and on my YouTube channel, where you can access all the recordings at once. So don't worry, I got you. And now, okay, let's go into the juicy bits, right? I'd like you very first, if you enjoyed, what Iskra shared so far, if you enjoyed Iskra energy, and if you'd like to go deeper, if you'd like to connect, I warmly invite you to connect with Iskra, or at least follow her and see what's up, Doc. Now, if you want to go further, and if you'd like to be wooed by Iskra's power and work, I invite you to join Iskra in her upcoming masterclass on March 30. And I feel it would be best to leave you explain a little bit what's going on, what's up.
Yes, thank you so much, Catherine. And again, thank you so much, everyone. You were amazing, and your questions are going deep. And I am so inspired to continue talking. Like on every question, I have a whole chapter to share more. So I will go back and read your comments, and I will respond as well. Yes, next Saturday, I'm hosting again the masterclass Bold and Visible. 3 keys to managing your fears and showing up. And the format of this masterclass is not teaching, it's very immersive, it's very interactive. As Kevin said in the beginning, we are co-creators. I love to build communities. I love to connect with my audience, and I need live people in front of me to be able to channel. I think collective is wisdom. It's not my wisdom. It's nothing original that is being brought here that never was heard in the world. So during this masterclass, we will go through 3 simple steps that can help you overcome any objections, any blocks, anything that is stopping you from taking action. Because I see that the fear of visibility, the fear of rejection, the fear of failure are stopping so many people from bringing their light into the world. For me, a pivoting moment was when, as a film producer, I decided that I need to take a different route. And the biggest challenge was this change of identity. I was someone who was established, who was popular, who was known. And all of a sudden, I have to start something totally new. I have to start a new online business. I have to present myself in a different way. I have to start talking about my woo-woo stuff, emotions, energies, feelings. And this looked so different and it was so scary. So this is what I am doing at the moment, supporting change makers. This is how I call them, who feel stopped from launching themselves in the world. And when we talk about launch, I don't mean the marketing term launch, scheduling your post and bringing people into with your offers into your life, into your world. It's about launching yourself as a rocket, starting, opening up, going into the next stage of your life, being an expert, knowing your worth, and still feeling intimidated by the vast unknown territory with so many moving elements. And of course, everyone can learn so many different marketing techniques. They all work, but they work at different stages of the journey of the entrepreneur. I believe that the most important work that has to be done is the deep inner work, the work on the inside, the self-awareness, the development of self-trust, acknowledging our true self-worth and connecting deeply so we become unshakably confident about our right to express ourselves authentically. And this is what will be covered in my masterclass next week. And it will not be a teaching, it will be a conversation. There will be some small tasks. There will be some connections, personal connections, breakout rooms. So I'm really excited about everyone who decides to come into this immersive experience.
Wow, that sounds amazing. And unshakable confidence. Oh, absolutely. Sign me up. Because yeah, as you mentioned, it's an ongoing journey. It's not because you've been able to claim and conquer some confidence fields like stage fright, like you mentioned, that we both conquered in different ways, but there are always other summits. There are always other peaks that sometimes need to be conquered. Like I've been able to overcome my stage fright, at least to some level in some fields, yet I was still camera shy and I had to conquer that at another time. So guys, if you'd like, I will make it easy for you. This is the QR code. If you want to register, you just scan it. You also have the link, the web link if you want. It's a short link. So no pressure, of course, you don't have to. But if you enjoyed Iskra's energy, if you'd like to build more confidence, if you'd like to be both bold and visible, yeah, you might want to see what Iskra has to say on the topic. It's absolutely free. You will enjoy not only teaching, and we know, like you mentioned, you didn't want to teach that much. You went to teaching kind of reluctantly, so which is funny, kind of funny, let's say. So guys, don't worry, it won't be just teaching, it will be also interactive and stuff. So yeah, in just a free invitation if you want to, if you feel to. And yeah, that's it. We are almost up. And thank you so much. Yeah, I would like to acknowledge my dear sisters from the Hounds, Sindal and you. Thank you so much for joining. That's always wonderful to have you in the room. And thank you to all of you that were listening from the get-going or just for a little while. Don't worry, we don't measure, your love and appreciation is not measured by the time you spent in this room. Don't worry, we love you anyway, no worries. Oh, and Anita just joined. Just in time. Maybe you were here the whole time, actually. Absolutely, that's a very, very good suggestion. So I still don't know who you are, LinkedIn user. We will know after the show. But yeah, that's a very, very good one. Happy to deliver. And yeah, Anita, absolutely, we will be many to sign up. So that's it. I leave you the last words, Iskra. What would you like to share?
First, I have to say that I don't know how 60 minutes went by. It's always so amazing to have a conversation with you, and it was incredible to be connecting with you through your comments. I so much appreciate from my heart the depth of your questions and the attention, the way you were deeply here with us into the room, even though we didn't see your faces. So big gratitude from my heart to yours. And I'm here. I'm so open to connect with all of you, to continue these conversations, many conversations. I have so many stories that I love to tell, and I think I need maybe 6, 7, 10 hours to tell all of them, because all of them, they bring negative wisdom. That's why I'm passionate about studying folklore, the way the collective wisdom is being shared with all of us. I think we can find so much inspiration there. So I invite you to connect with me, send me a message, say that you're coming from Kevin, and come and join the masterclass. I'm sure that, again, you will not, maybe, I mean, this is what I hope, you will not notice how the 90 minutes will go by. And always what happens during my events, they're always interactive, they're always immersive, and there's always connection. People get to connect with people who are vibrating at a similar frequency, and maybe you can find a friend for life, or joint venture partner, or we can even enjoy our time together and enrich our community life.
Thank you. That's beautiful. Beautiful invitation. So Maya, so LinkedIn user was Maya. Thank you for sharing your name. I personally believe that names are power. So I feel names are very significant. So it's good to be able to thank you directly. And so Anita and I, we will join with a lot of gratitude your masterclass. Guys, if you're appealed to, just join us and let's have some fun. Thanks to Iskra. And anyway, Iskra, thank you again for accepting my invitation. And talk to you very soon.
I thank you, Kevin, for the invitation. It was such a pleasure having this conversation with you. I'm grateful.
You're so very welcome.
Yeah.
Bye, guys. Enjoy a wonderful rest of your Wednesday.